Nice Monday for this week. Starting a fresh week. So I figured we'd start with a fresh project, kind of. For those checking out the new title for this broadcast, we're doing Brainstorming for Turkey Day. For anyone that doesn't know what Turkey Day is, it's Thanksgiving. It's a U.S. holiday. While I am living in Europe and have been for many years now, I'm originally from the States, so it's not necessarily a holiday I like full-on celebrate anymore. Since moving here, it's not a thing over here, obviously, so it's just I've kind of gotten out of the habit. But when that time rolls around, it still brings back memories of Thanksgiving dinners with the family and stuff. And since I know we do have U.S. players that may want to bring a little bit of that seasonal fun to their home, I thought maybe we could brainstorm some ideas for bringing Thanksgiving into WildStar. So first I'm going to do a quick tweet. Today's stream is probably not going to be very long. I'm still coughing. I've had extra scratchy throat this morning, so I'm just kind of the one to take it easy. So I may have the kind of curtailed schedule this week again. Last week we did Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll probably do that again this week. If I'm feeling better tomorrow, then I'll go ahead and hop on, but for the moment, I think it's probably best that I just not push it. While I'm anxious to get back into streaming regularly, it's just with the throat and everything, it's just not a good idea to push it. Hey Bones, welcome to the show. So as you can see, we're on my alts. Plot, celery, the CBDC creation station. You can see I still have remnants of past episodes still sitting around. But today's we're going to do inside. I'm thinking about maybe working on some ideas for if you want to set up a Thanksgiving feast. Now, while I say this is for Thanksgiving, it doesn't mean that it has to be strictly that. If you just want to come up with some new foods, you know, they can work for any kind of situation. You know, if you just want to do something different. While we do have a lot of food items in WildStar, we still lack quite a few. And anyone that's been around me for a while will know that I love coming up with interesting ways to create different dishes that we normally wouldn't see. I've made sandwiches and pizza and popcorn of all varieties, and among many other things. So today we're going to start, let's just lay down I'm just going to grab some 2x4s. Now, you could use a picnic table. The only thing I don't like about the picnic tables is their tabletops are very uneven and wonky. So if you're wanting to set things down and have them straight up and down and everything, you really want to start with a flat surface. And I would like to not have to constantly adjust as I lay something new down. So I'm just going to start with some flat planks. And yes, Bones, I agree, we need more chocolate. Really any kind of food items that they could give us. I mean, I know that they've got some out there. I've seen sandwiches in the open world. They've got a few that's attached to some of the fab kits, and I mean, they've got apples and other kinds of fruits and other kinds of even bottles. They've got like a glass beer bottle instead of just the can, and just other things. And the more items we have, the more we can create with them, other things as well. Excuse me. So I'm just going to lay out a tabletop of like about 3 planks. I think 3 is a good amount. Okay, so there's our tabletop. Kind of high for a little Orin, but I want to have a good view of it, so we'll leave it like that for now. And anything that you create, if it helps to start a little bigger than what you plan to shrink it down to, that's one of the great things about linking your items together. That way, you know, maybe you build it bigger so you can see, and then shrink it down afterwards. I do that a lot too. So let's see, what do we want to start with now? Depending on how you make your table, if you feel like you're probably gonna have items that you want to like sink into the table and kind of have a lot of stuff sticking out the bottom, you may want to build it up thicker. We're not going to mess with that here for today, for now, but I'll maybe see about fixing that later, depending on how much is actually poking out. Right now, we're just going to pretend that you don't see anything down there, and we're worried about what it looks like up top. Yeah, bones, exactly. I'm sure that's coming, more barrels, cans, and stuff. It's just one of those things that it's like they trickle it out, you know. They gave us doors, but we've been waiting for a long time for the Orin door. Of course, in the Katia decor shopper, I did see an Orin door. It's a little rounded, kind of almost looks like a Hobbit door. I don't know if it's actually in game yet. I imagine not, otherwise we would have seen it, people talking about it and selling it, or at least using it in their builds. But that's one thing that's unfortunate about the shopper. While it's great to be able to see some of the stuff that's coming up, I'd prefer if it was only stuff that we could actually get access to, because it's, you know, the data mining's fun, but you know, we may be waiting forever before that door actually comes available, and that's kind of disappointing. It's like, ooh, they got it, and it's like, well, we can't actually have it. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. They'll give you, you know, we've been wanting rocks for a long time. They gave us some rocks recently, but there's still more rocks that we would like to have. You know, we don't want just the sandstone ones. We want other things. Boulders and little pebble piles and things like that. Okay, so the very first thing when you think of Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, is of course the roasted turkey. Now we do have the golden ash hen, which is like the gold version of like a raw turkey chicken looking thing, and then we have the raw one, which is kind of a pinkish color, but we don't want that color. We want a roasted turkey. So we're gonna try and make one. This may turn into just a really big disaster, but we're gonna try it. So first we want some kind of a platter, and I'm not even sure if I actually have something that could be used as a platter. I'm thinking, why do I have 300? That's from that fish that we made so long ago. Excuse me. So let's see. Yeah, I don't think I have anything that, you know, because all the plates and the bowls and things, they kind of curve up. I want something that's flat. I guess we'll just use the back side of the metal plate for now. Because I want something, like I said, I want something flat that isn't gonna like be cut off. Unless I make this really huge, but I really don't want to do that. So let's see. And then the only reason I'm like making those like round numbers instead of leaving it is just to be easier, that kind of thing. It's just a personal preference of mine. Okay, so there's my big platter. Nice, shiny metal looking platter. Again, you notice it's sticking out on this side. Maybe I'd have to make my table wider or something to accommodate. Normally I would probably use the succulent pig decor and just flip it upside down so that the pig is underneath and then the tray itself is visible. That's one of my favorite ones when I'm doing platters. Or you can use picture frames, or the pod planner is decent. But for now, we're just kind of doing the kind of sloppy style. So first you start off with the body of the turkey, and you just kind of want to have a shape going. Excuse me. Now, you want your turkey kind of plump. It's going to be a little bit fatter on one end and kind of narrows down to where, the legs and stuff are attached. So, I'm just kind of trying to decide if this is going to be a good size or if it's going to be too big. Let's bring that down to 0.3 just for goodness sake. Now, you'll notice that it's got this little tied end here. But we'll deal with that later. First, I just kind of want to get the basic shape of the breast, the main part of the turkey. And then we'll go from there. So I'm just going to lay down some duplicates, and I'm going to be turning and twisting it until I get a shape that I feel like works for it. It's a lot of angling and tweaking and twisting. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It just calls for a lot of experimenting on what you want to do. Sometimes you'll start off with a particular project and think, and you end up going into something else. It looks more like something else, and you think, I'll go with that instead. I've done that when I'm trying to make animals and stuff. Now you'll see I'm doubling it up. I want the turkey to have some thickness as well. So I'm just kind of hoping that there's not too many lines or weird. I'm hoping that the bag will mesh well with itself. And again, I like using objects that are easy to get a hold of and that are relatively cheap, especially when you come to experimenting with things. You might think, wow, that item that costs 5 plat on the auction house might really make a great, this or that, and you may regret buying it when you find out it doesn't. So it's just, I always go for cheap stuff. That's just me. Let's see. You can afford the big stuff, and don't mind if it costs an arm and a leg to try it out and then find out it doesn't work, then hey, more power to you. But for a lot of us, especially beginner builders, that's just not an option. A little lopsided, but no turkey's perfect. It's been in the oven all day, so it's kind of, Okay, so that's sort of general shape. Kind of, sort of. So the next big thing that's kind of a defining marker is the legs, the turkey legs. And those would normally be attached to either side. So I'm just going to, oh, well, congrats on the new hoverboard. Is that the one from Madame Faye? I think it's one of those, the Lop one. Excuse me so much. Now this is going to be tough because I don't want it to look too small, but I also don't want it to be too big. You're just going to have to kind of play around with the right size. And I also want to change the shape of the way that looks, so I'm going to duplicate that and then going to rotate that again. Oh, well, I hope you get a good price for it. Okay, I think that one needs to come down just a little bit more. Okay, maybe that's too small. There we go. So all I did was I flipped the bag. I rotated it both ways. So it's kind of upside down to itself. I'm just trying to get that little bit of like a stem thing going, and it kind of covers up the little bag part. The little tied in of the first one. So there's that sort of. I mean, it's kind of sticking out, but you know, it's so small you can't really see it too bad, I think. Okay, and then we basically just want to copy that onto the other side. Now I could save just the leg as a set, but I'm going to try it just building it straight on its own. We're just going to rotate it. Pardon me. And I'm just gonna try and get the angles right. I don't want it to necessarily be a full mirror of the other, because like I said, there's, you know, your turkey legs aren't going to be picture perfect exact as the ones before it, you know, from side to side. Plus, the shape on this side is probably slightly different than that one, so you just have to make some adjustments. Till it feels about right. Feels like it needs to turn in just a little bit. Because, you know, the legs kind of angle that way, not a whole lot, but some. Something like that. And then we have the second one. Set to object. And we're gonna rotate it and then the other way. And then I think we had it at 0.08 for the first one. Wow, did I like... A little hard to see. That's one of the reasons why if you prefer working in larger bits, it can be helpful to do it like that. Okay, so there's the second leg, I think. So just kind of look at it from both sides and see if it's about where you want. It looks a little wonky, so I'm going to try and fix it here. Looks like it needs to slant a little bit more. This is one of those things you always want to check all angles and directions and stuff, because you just might decide, well, that doesn't look right this way, but it looks fine that way, and you just have to kind of keep playing with it. Excuse me. A little better. This, I think I'm going to tweak a little more. Oh, maybe not that much. Goodness. I think you turn it one way and it goes another way, and again, I'm just looking at it from all directions to kind of get an idea. Not too bad. A little rough here. I could maybe try and bring in one more. Let's see. I don't know if that's really going to work like I'm thinking, but see if I can kind of make that a little more. Whoops. Whoa. It just looks like too many pieces. That's a little too big, I think. A little better, I guess. Just to kind of close up, there was like a lot of different little jaggedy bits. I think it looks better sealed a little bit. Okay, so that's the turkey. Now, for the platter part, you know, depending on what you use, you could get away with with the one I'm using, it's kind of flat edge, so there's like nothing to catch whatever it is you might be putting with it, like say you want vegetables or like trimmings and stuff, like the greens and things like that. We're gonna go ahead and add. That just bugs me looking at the. And extend this out to 5. A really big banquet. Okay, so The little succulent pig comes with lots of little vegetables. I think it looks like it's got onions and like maybe potatoes or something. But you know, you can't use that because then you'd have the pig there too. So you have to kind of come up with other things that might work that, you know, for those. Now we do have some carrot plushies on hand. And I know it sounds, you know, horrible to use my own kind as props for food, but, you know, if you hide the bit that's got the face on it and kind of tuck the legs in it, it might not be so bad, I think, maybe. But we want them pretty small. Kind of extra coloring and things like that. I know it's not exactly pointed like you would expect a carrot. You could, if you want, use a duplicate, you know, size it down just a little bit, and then kind of tuck it in there to make it kind of long and pointed if you wanted. Not gonna ever be exactly like that, and we don't have a lot of orange, strictly orange items that, you know, might work for it, but you know, a possibility to kind of make it look a little pointed. Just put that one there, and then we'll bring this one out a little bit. You got this weird little pointed carrot thing. Or you can leave it just the other way, just the one. It's quite alright to do it that way as well. So I've got 5 more, so I'll go ahead and just place a few around. Just to make it look like there's some vegetables on the plate. And when you have just a few, you know, make sure you go and put it all around. Excuse me. We got 2 more. I'll put in one. Took one right around here. And I'm also going to rotate that a bit. Not a whole lot, because again, you don't want the face showing. It might be kind of a little unnerving. And we're going to put one right around here somewhere, I think. Because, you know, when you have a little platter of vegetables and around your, whether it's a roast or whatever, it's all tucked in and stuff. Yeah, normally you have potatoes. I'm not sure what would be best for that, to be quite honest. I know I've used I think it's the firewood, the one that you can craft, I think it is, and I've used the ends, but they look more like kind of like onions to me because they've got the little markings on the sides. So I don't know what you would really use for potatoes. Now, naturally, if you have a different kind of a turkey body, you probably could get away with using the sandbags for the potatoes instead. Unless you're going for like the new potato kind, and I think they usually come in like a light yellow or a red, kind of a light red. But what we could use for potatoes here, I don't know. The best thing I can think of is maybe just using the hanging fruit and just use a few of of them, not like the whole clump, like it looks like a bunch of berries or fruits. Just have it just a few here and there. So it doesn't look like they're stemmed together or something. That's my best suggestion for this little arrangement. It almost looks like the carrot color though, doesn't it? I don't know. Excuse me. Yeah, see, it almost looks like the carrot. I don't think that would be a good one. So let's see if we can think of something else. I know that sometimes you have like I'm gonna put another platter here. Sometimes you have like corn on the cob. Yeah, the golden wheat sacks might work all right. We'll try that in a second. The corn on the cob, though, the idea I had for that was the stack of plastic coins. Just to use the really golden one and have the rest sunk down into the bottom here. Might take some finagling because you got that one coin on the end that looks a little off, but you know, maybe you can kind of get away with it and pretend that's a cob of corn. Whoops. Accidentally placed a duplicate instead of just placing it. Does Fallout 4 have housing? Seriously? I have no idea about that game. I know some of my guildmates have been excited about it coming out and have been talking about it and stuff, but I just... So I'm just going to... That's what you get. That's what you get. Just go to another game. You start thinking about all the stuff you do in this one. See, the issue about this one is you can't really rotate it too much, get it in too much variation, because then you run into the problem of the other stuff sticking out that you don't want. I'm just going to turn this around. It's called settlements. Is it like one of those where you like have your peons that like farm for you and stuff, and then you try and not have them die and stuff? I've seen some games like that, you know, and I'm not very good at those. Okay, we're just gonna do with the three cobs. I've got a few more stacks, but I don't think it's gonna improve. You could find a way to kind of hide the other bits, you know, maybe you could stack a few up. Maybe I can do it this way. There we go. Kind of getting an arrangement of cobs. Pardon me. Hey, soccer. Well, I don't know. That sounds kind of weird. Bones and their settlements. Okay, so Bones suggested we try the wheat. Not the wheat, but the grain sacks. There we go. See if we can get a hold of some of those. Now there's the grain sack and then the grain sack pile. I don't think the pile would be too handy, so let's see if just the sack. Mostly I'm wanting to look at the color. It has to be a different enough color from the turkey that it doesn't look like I'm using the same item for two different things. Like a oblong kind of potato. Nice little potato. That kind of works, doesn't it? Does that look alright? Does that look different enough? Light enough? I don't know. Kind of close. Break down a piece of wood. I'm not sure what you mean. Okay, a thorny log. I'm guessing the brown one. I think the green one might look a little weird. We'll try the brown. Wow, that's really gonna have to be super small. I don't know if I can get it small enough. Let's first see if I even know what exactly you're talking about. Here, let's try this one here. Since it's on the outside. I don't know if that's gonna... It looks like a cob on a stick. That's what it looks like. See, the smaller I make it, I think it's really quite long. I don't think that's gonna work with like what you're thinking. Does it matter how long the little cob part is? Wow, that's a big difference in size there. Look, it went from 0.02 to 0.03. It's like... I don't know if that's gonna... Yeah, something that popped in my head. These, you know, if you use just the top chip, it could be like banana chips. Or maybe a ring of pineapple. I don't know if that's gonna work. Would that work if I like leave it like that and then duplicate it and have the end on either side? Would that seem right? Let's try that, I guess. Gonna have to get it just so that it It looks like a rolling pin. See, we may have stumbled upon a way to make a rolling. That's the best I can do with the corn cob sticks. Because if I make it any smaller, you're not going to be able to see it at all. I don't know, that looks a little weird. We'll leave it for now. What about the potatoes? Does the potatoes look alright to you? Too far down in the plate? Maybe need to come up a little bit. Too big, maybe? Those are some big, like, russet potatoes. We don't get russet potatoes here. Yeah, it looks just like a rolling pin. You know, if we could find something that it doesn't look like buttery yellow for the rolling pin, some other kind of brown, that would probably work well, but we'll just use the grain sacks. That's good enough for me, I think. And notice I'm using it to cover up the bits of the other sacks that I don't want showing. Yeah, they don't have russet potatoes here, which I miss because they're like the best for baking potatoes. So I have to kind of use the potatoes they got here. They have the skins are real thin, and I mean they're great for boiling and things like that, but you want a nice big baked potatoes. Russets are the way to go, and they just don't have those here. Because they have those thick jackets, and it just does really well with keeping it from drying out the potato while it's in the oven and everything. Okay, so that's enough potatoes. Maybe a little extra green. What do you suggest on that? I don't know. I'm gonna add another platter. Because we also want to do, you know, you can't have just meat and veg, you have to have dessert too. And the most well-known, besides maybe pecan pie, is the pumpkin pie. I don't know if we can pull off a pumpkin pie though. Let's see. Excuse me. So I had it in my head that we would actually use the pumpkins to make the pumpkin pie. Whether or not that's feasible is another thing. I just noticed all these name changes are really weird. They used to be pumpkin group, and now it's just pumpkins with an S. Ow. Now the main issue is these, the vine part. You'll have to deal with not having that show, and the kind of bowl that you use. Maybe it doesn't work well with the thickness kind of issue. But again, if you're going to build your table so that it's solid for a pretty good distance, you might be able to get away with using some of it and not worrying too much about what's sticking out. I'm just gonna test my theory here. Pardon me. Green thorny logs for asparagus. That sounds like a pretty good idea. Asparagus, is that usually like little clumps, groupings together? The asparagus we get here that I see the most often is the white ones. So maybe like, but I think they come in like little bunches where they tie them up in a little bunch. Wow, I have to really. So we'll put that on the veggie plate. Something like that. Asparagus bunches or something. Hey Muse, yeah, I've been sick for like, it feels like months now. It's mostly the cough that keeps hanging on. So anyway, probably the most ideal would be to have like an orange pillow. If we had an orange pillow, that would probably work wonders, but I'm gonna try with the bottom of a pumpkin and see if we can get away with that kind of sorta. The biggest issue will be that cruddy little vine that probably wants to show up. Maybe we can figure out a way to kind of hide that with something else. Oh, my cruddy pumpkin. See, if you can get this to be hidden, then that looks almost like a little ready-made pie right there. But I don't know what to put there. We'll just pretend it's not there for now. I know on, well, thank you, Muse, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just one of those things, when I get one of those coughs, it just kind of ends up becoming like a habit. You know, you just can't get rid of it. But yes, Soccer, that is a good idea. You know, if you're making a feast or a bounty like this, flower decorations, maybe a glass, napkins covering part of it, maybe put this close to the centerpiece where you have like candles and greenery and stuff. You can hide it that way. Mostly we're just interested in what it looks like here. Now it looks a little off center. We're gonna try and adjust that a bit. Probably takes some finagling, but one thing that pumpkin pie usually has is a dollop of whipped topping. And I've been racking my brain trying to figure out, because we don't really have a lot of white items. The towels would probably be my go-to thing. I don't have any on this character, so but like the you know, the folded part of the towel, if you had just like the little corner popped up and have that on each little slice, that would work pretty good, I think. Trying to think of anything else that's white that might suit. Ew, you use sour cream on your pie? That just sounds gross. We use whipped topping. The sour cream, it doesn't sound like it would. I don't know. I know that it's used in a lot of desserts, but uh, just I don't know about that. Okay, so you want me to try a bowl with some spider egg in it to make it look white. Excuse me. Which bowl do you think would work best? I have 3 different versions here, and they all pose their own problems. I think I'll just go with the natural bowl here. So, well, I guess it would be. I know we've used like when we're doing like cream cheese, like cheesecake, we use well, we don't use sour cream, but we use cream cheese, which is kind of close. It's a little thicker, but I don't know. I've never heard of that on a pie though. But you know, we use the sweet topping, the thing that you put like on sundaes and things. We put that on our pumpkin pie. But the pie that I make for the holidays, it's kind of a combination of the two. I make pumpkin cheesecake, and we don't use anything with it because it's already kind of built into it. So it looks like a little swirly kind of thing. Spider egg. The I don't know, it might look pretty, like, too dark. We'll try it, but... Man, that thing's huge. Okay, that's too small. We gotta sink it down so the spider web don't show too much. There, it looks like tartar sauce. Like for fish sticks. And the spider web's still showing through. That's what I mean by when you choose your bowls and plates and things, choose carefully because certain things might look better with a flatter kind of dish, so you don't have that extra bit kind of showing through. I've kind of mitigated that by enlarging the bowl a little bit and sinking it down into the table some, because that curvature, when you have things trying to hide them inside it, it's really bad about showing. So yeah, it's a little, it looks like either it looks like a pile of cream cheese is kind of like gone bad, like it's got fungus in it or something. I don't know. Like I said, I think the best one, if you really want the white, using the corners of the towels. If I can get a hold of a couple, I'll come back here and see how it looks. But I think like a little dollop, a little corner will look more like a dollop of whipped topping. It's just unfortunate we don't have a lot of things that have white bits on them. I mean, we have the white plate, but you can't really use that because it's kind of pointed and sharp and just doesn't work well. But And see, we have this white, but that's like kind of sunken into the side of the bowl, so you can't really get that out for anything. It's just not a lot of, pardon me. I just wish we had more basic blocks like squares and balls and things like that that were primary colors, you know, just basic colors like you have a white and a black and a red and a yellow and a blue and a green. Maybe an orange, you know, some like primary and tertiary colors or something. Just kind of some basics without having to hunt and peck for what items might work and might not. But yes, that's a good suggestion that a mattress might work. The WildStar plushie as well, kind of, if you can kind of get past the stitches and everything. Let's see if we have a mattress, just for an example. Doesn't look like it, so. Is it even called a mattress anymore? Okay, yeah it is. The only thing is, with the corner of the towel, you won't have this pattern to have to worry about, or the seamed corners. That'd be the only thing that kind of will look a little off. Plus the, you know, the size of this thing. Excuse me. Really shrunk down mattress looks like crackers. Well, I don't think it's gonna make a good dollop as to what I was thinking of. We'll try though. I'm gonna see if I can kind of sorta. It's not. Looks like a pat of butter been stuck into the pie. It's not exactly what I was going for, but you know, if you're in for a pinch, it's an option, I guess. Hey, love. So many people out and about. Okay, so what else was we suggesting? We need something red. Now, I've seen several people use the, not the Chua stool, although it could probably work too, but the cushion bar stool. I've seen them use that as tomatoes, and like sliced tomatoes. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'm just gonna have a little, I'll just like put down 3 of them or so. And you can get particular and kind of like tweak them to slant a little bit so it looks like they're overlapped. But so you got some tomatoes, or maybe if you really wanted to, if you didn't mind like stacking them and everything, you could probably make an apple shape, kind of like make it narrow at the bottom and a little wider at the top, maybe, but it'd be tricky. Use what for the corn cobs? I'm confused. I don't like the mattress though. I'm gonna move that. I'm definitely gonna try and get a hold of some of the towels. Let's see, what else do we need? If you just want some like kind of lettuce kind of stuff, grasses are usually your best option. Oh, yes, you're right. Well, yeah, might look kind of like a dingy pat of butter. I think they look more like crackers, to be honest, but let's Let's try that out. Bones is suggesting using the mattress as a pat of butter on the corn cobs. Whoops, where'd it go? Went into the no man's land. See, it looks like a cracker. Looks like almost kind of like an old graham cracker. It's so tiny now you can't hardly see it. You see, it's oblong. It's not square. It just looks weird. But you know, you could do crackers and cheese. We could do that. Let's see. Surely I've got some cheese. Oh my gosh, I don't. Now, you've got the cheese wedge that's already on the block, but that thing covers like the entire block. So we'll get one, but we're going to cheat a bit. Let's move this over here. Maybe we can use this to kind of hide that ugly stem that's sticking out. Pardon me. What we're going to do though is we're going to turn this over. And again, I'm going to do my best to try and cover this up as much as I can to make it look natural and like we meant it to be, weirdly stuck on the side of that platter. Well, we don't want to overlap it too much, so it might look a little odd. And then we're going to get a blockless cheese wedge. And we're going to shrink that baby down. I'm going to put it right on top of that other thing that's sticking out. Wow, that thing's just like really sticking out, isn't it? Okay, there we go. So we got chunk of cheese there. I'm going to add another one. We're going to rotate this one just to make it like a square piece. And then we're going to use that mattress because I swear it looks like a cracker. See, I even wanted to spell cracker. Get off of there. It looks like a cracker. Cheese and crackers. There you go. The crackers. You could have bread if you want. A good trick for the unburnt toast is to stack them up and make like a little loaf. That's real easy to do. I don't think I have any toast though. I'll see about getting a hold of some of that. Let's see. Toast and towels. Toast and towels. And I'll think some more about what other kind of foodie kind of things we can come up with to accompany. Now, last year we did some decorations. I think I did a cornucopia, one of those little, looks like a wicker kind of horn thing. And we did some like pumpkin decorations. We had like wheatgrass and some of the different kinds of melons like that you get on the the what do you call it? Can't think of the name. Uh, the trellis, I think it is. Yeah, the fruit trellis. It comes with these funky little melons, and we just use one end of it so that it already had a few melons on it, and then we just added some pumpkins and things, and used that as a kind of garnish decoration for the open hearth, the top of it. We might revisit a couple of those as we're finishing up our banquet table here, but I think we're going to call it good for today. I appreciate everyone that's dropped by for the show. Again, sorry that the times are running a lot shorter than they used to be. I mean, before I would stream anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, but with the throat and the coughing and the scratchiness, I just think it's best I kind of keep it short and sweet. And like I said, I probably won't be on tomorrow. I'm going to aim for doing the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same as I did last week, just to kind of, I'll stream and then give myself a break and stream and so forth. But be sure and check back Wednesday if you're at all interested in checking out some homes. We're going to do our tours as usual. I think this week is Dominion's turn. So I'm going to be hunting up Dominion homes that I feel deserve a kind of a shout out. I do believe the next spotlight is due to hit this Wednesday. Let me check my calendar. Yes, on the 18th. That will be for the WildStar Core website, fan site thing. We've got a new one coming out. And it's actually over an exile plot. So be sure and check that out. I'll probably be tweeting it once it hits, once it's actually published and gone live. But the spotlights for that website is mostly to kind of give an insight specifically to the builder. While it's a spotlight of their house, it's more about them, what inspires them to the themes that they pick. In specific, the one that we're covering, but in general, it just kind of gives you an idea of how they work. Some of them really go into a lot of planning, and others just kind of off the cuff, wing it kind of thing. Some it takes them months and months to build a full plot, and others they can do it, whip it out in a couple weeks, and you're like, what? Your jaw's on the floor, and you're thinking, I'll never. It also has insights as to like some of their favorite decor pieces and things they would like to see added to housing in specific, and little bits of advice that they can pass on to those that are, thinking about getting into housing or have just gotten into housing and are kind of feeling lost and want a little bit of input as to where they should be, how they should be approaching it. So that's the main idea behind those spotlights, but we still will be doing the tours. I actually don't have any houses on my list this week, so I'm going to have to do that. That'll probably be what I'll be doing tomorrow. Is I haven't really been religiously checking out the public homes lately, because I've had so much other stuff going on. Plus, I was sick this last month. It's just been kind of hard getting back into the routine of everything. But I will probably be doing that today and tomorrow, and that way I'll have a good lineup of homes for you to look at. And of course, when we come back Friday, we'll probably have a few more items for the Thanksgiving deal, because I believe that's on the 24th that the holiday is celebrated. It's been years since I celebrated it myself, so I'm pretty foggy on that. But I think it's the 24th, so we got to, a little bit beforehand. But like I said, you don't have to use these just for Thanksgiving. It could be for any kind of a dinner setup that you want to make, and you don't want yours looking just like everybody else's. Using the same succulent pig platter and the same, cheese platter and things like that. We're just coming up with some different ideas that you could use for a feast, a banquet, whatever. Because even Winterfest will probably have banquets that people will want to check out and everything. So hopefully we can come up with some additional ideas, and I will try and get a hold of those other pieces that we need, because I really think that will look better with the towels and stuff. In the meantime, I wish you guys much luck with your own projects, and have fun. That's the big thing. If it becomes like you just feel like you're working at it too hard, take a break. That goes for housing, the game in general, whatever. Um, it's meant to be just fun. If it's not fun anymore, it's time for a break. But I hope you're having fun. And again, thank you for dropping by. Thank you for the follows, the retweets, the support, and the well wishes. I appreciate that too. And I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.